Hey guys, welcome back to the channel, and today we have a submission from Evan. It's a Magical Musketeer versus another branded Despair. So I decided to commentate on this replay because I seldom really see Magical Musketeer, so I'm very excited to see how this replay goes. And before I jump into talking about the deck list, if you're enjoying the content from my channel so far, do hope that you can help me by subscribing and liking my video, commenting down below as well if you have any questions or just general comments about the whole replay. And yeah, so without further ado, let's take a look at the video that's submitted by Evan. So for those who are unaware of how Magical Musketeer works, basically anything if you activate like a spell or trap in the same column as the monster, you activate like certain effect of the monster. And thus there's some like a bit, I would say a bit unusual card that you play in Magical Musketeer. So for example, instead of Infinite Imperm, you actually play Forbidden Lens in Magical Musketeer, because the fact that your Imperm has to be set before you can play it during your turn. And normally you will want to have one Magical Musketeer on your field before you activate any spell or trap. So stuff like Pot of Extravagance, you won't want to prioritize them because Pot of Extravagance has to be activated on the first thing during the main phase. So usually you want to normal summon your Magical Musketeer first before you actually activate any of this. Yeah. So I think maybe it's better to go into the replay so to showcase how it works. So let's jump right into the replay. Okay, so he started with a lot of very good cards here. So the main thing you will want is actually your Magical Musketeer Casper. So if you activate something in the same column, you can actually add one more Magical Musketeer card from your deck to your hand, but it's only once per turn. This spell or trap activation same column is affects your opponent as well. So if they activate something that's along the same column, you'll get the activate its effect as well. So then the next thing is with all the Magical Musketeer trap and spell, you will require your Magical Musketeer monster to be on the field for you to activate the effect. And each of the monster has an effect that you can activate it from your hand. During activation you can activate Magical Musket spell or trap card from your hand. So this means that you do not have to set any of your spell trap to activate them. So usually for Magical Musketeer, you'll just normal summon one of them and then you end your turn, because you won't want to set any of your cards. So first thing, so he added Frightful Fetchwork, and then you can actually negate it. There's a spell negation for Magical Musketeer. Then he decided to destroy this, although you can discard. Okay, so if you destroy this card, you won't be able to fusion summon using your side. And since you activate something from the same column, you actually add another Magical Musketeer card. So these are actually the three main cards of Magical Musketeer. This guy is called Last Stand. Last Stand negates your spell trap and it's a counter trap. Very, very strong card. Second, you have your Desperado. This destroy one face up card on the field. And lastly, this negates a monster and then makes it attack to 0. So you can actually activate this during damage type as well to have that surprise factor. So all are very, very strong cards. So he activate Polymerization and then he counter it with Last Stand. But since Casper has already been activated, he won't be able to activate his spell again. So next, he uses Branded Fusion to bring out your Lubellion, and then it attempts to discard one card to fusion summon. And then Chain Block with Despair Tragedy, but no worries, Cross Domination is actually like an effect veiler. It doesn't really care about Chain Block. So Cross Domination will actually negate his effect. And then he won't be able to conduct his fusion summon. And if I know, he already normal summon during his turn, so he can't do anything. But then at this point in time, Im Chain activates the effect to add a Frightful Patchwork to his hand, which allows him to actually search for another chain and another Polymerization later on. So the next thing about Magical Musketeer is its Link Monster. So you only summon max during your second turn. This is because depending on the opponent's field, max effects is a bit different. So if you can add when it's Link Summon, you can activate the effect based on the number of monsters your opponent has, and then add the number of spell traps from your deck to your hand. So in this case, your opponent has actually one monster, so he will be able to add one spell trap from the deck to the hand. But it's in another effect, based on the number of set card the opponent has, you actually special summon the number of Magical Musketeer monster from your deck. So it depends. If your monster have a set number of set cards, you special summon monster. But if your opponent has monster, you actually add spell trap. So depending on which one do you prefer. So in the case, he just bring that out. Actually, I won't even bring this out actually. Okay, so activates the same column, so Casper will activate his effect. This guy, okay, so this is another spell trap that Magical Musketeer has. This thing prevents all your Musketeer from being destroyed by card effect. And then, if this card is being destroyed, you can actually add one Magical Musketeer card from your deck or graveyard to your hand. So very strong protection card here. But I won't actually activate it right now, because let's wait for your opponent to do something and then you surprise it with this trap. Because like what I mentioned, you can activate all this from your hand directly. So you can just wait for maybe your opponent has a Lightning Storm or Raigeki, then you activate this card to prevent your monster from being destroyed. So there's that surprise factor. Okay, so there's nothing much Magical Musketeer can do other than just attacking right away. So he just attacks and then end his turn. And another thing is Max does not have the effect that activates the same column. So he intends to use Rendered in red, which he can counter using Last Stand. And then now he will be able to add another card to his hand because of Casper effect. So maybe he'll bring out the Desperado to destroy one face-up card. And then he attempts to activate his effect, which of course will get negated and become 0. So you can see this is actually a very strong control deck as well. Let's jump back into the deck list first. Yep. So the only bad thing about Magical Musketeer is, if let's say your opponent kaiju away the monster, or you don't draw any Magical Musketeer card in your hand, it's basically useless. You can't do anything, you can't activate any of your spell or trap. But once you set up the recycling factor, you are able to actually keep bringing back your cards. So like Casper is to add from your deck to your hand, and then there's Doctor, the one on the second row, second card, that's the Doctor. It actually takes back Magical Musket spell trap from your graveyard to your hand. So if you realize it's like a recycling, you activate, then you add back something else to your hand. So really strong. Now one thing that I want to comment on this Magical Musketeer deck is the fact that he has evenly matched. Because evenly match requires you to have no cards on the field, no face up. I think no face up or no cards on the field for you to activate from your hand, which actually contradicts your Magical Musketeer effect. Because you normally want it to be on the field before you activate the effect. So for this I won't recommend evenly match, but maybe add back in a bit more Forbidden Droplet or even Raigeki will be very useful there. Yeah. So that's the end of this video. So if you enjoyed this so far, do help me by subscribing to the channel. And if you have any comment regarding Magical Musketeer, do comment down in the comment section below. I think my community here will be happy to answer any of your questions. So I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye bye.